afternoon, good evening, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. My name is Linda and this is Jar of Marbles and I am Bob. Yes, you are. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about stinkin' thinkin'. You know, the stories we tell ourselves. I was sitting on the bus last Tuesday, earbuds in, watching the city blur past, when it hit me. My mind had done it again. I was thinking about if it was a good idea to keep doing the podcast. Should I? My main supporter, my husband, who has since passed. I just wasn't feeling sure, and that little whisper in the back of my head, you're never going to get this right. Just like that, I was sucked into a spiral of doubt, and before the city was even a blur, I'd already rehearsed every possible way I could mess up my week. This, my friend, is stinkin' thinkin'. Whoa. Just wanted to press the button, but I also wanted to press this button. It's a good one, eh? Yeah. Come on. Yeah, okay, right, sorry. Anyway, so stinkin' thinkin'. Hey, but wait a minute, I'm a fan even though technically I don't exist. What would I be? Who would I be? Fair point. And Pete would want you to carry on. He would. And he's listening from on high. You know what, Bob? You're right. Thanks. That's all right. Anyway, we all do it. Not just dramatic pessimists or high achievers under pressure, but all of us. It is the mental mud that slows us down, dims our confidence and paints ordinary problems as major catastrophes. Oh yeah, that's so true, man. But recognising it, that's the first step towards feeling less stuck and more in control. So, I'm going to ask the question, what is stinkin' thinkin'? Well, it's a name coined playfully but purposefully for negative self-talk, patterns of thinking that twist reality into something far worse than it is. Think of it like wearing emotional sunglasses with the darkest possible tint. I recall decades ago my youngest was around 4 and I was just making it paycheck to paycheck, just, and that was exactly $7 left over after I paid all my bills. My rent was never late and the lights always stayed on, my children fed and clothed. But I noticed I had started to worry about how I was going to manage moving forward with 3 girls to raise on my own, 2 of who were moving into teenage status. Financially, it was all changing as their needs changed, but I wasn't making any more money. As soon as I noticed my thinking, I thought, what do I usually think? And basically, I had forgotten that I usually think I'm rich in all ways and all my needs for the family are met with ease. Like, I just had a far better attitude. There's no better feeling than finally arriving back to the comfort of your own home when you can just be ugly in peace. So true. Absolutely, yeah. So I started replacing each negative thought that came in with something simple like everything I need is provided with ease, or all our needs are met. Anyway, not long after this, and I mean like a couple of days, I'm offered a part-time job that worked in perfectly for when, my girls were at school and off I went. Bottom line was I could bring more money into the house. Bottom line, it was my stinkin' thinkin' was getting squashed bit by bit every time I replaced it with a lighter thought, which then just gave me a better view of the world, opened me up to opportunities. Instead of got my head down looking at the ground, I'm looking around going, well, I wonder if there's anything here for me. So apparently RSVPing back to a wedding invite maybe next time is not the correct response? No, perhaps not, Bob. Yeah, all right then. So here's how it can sometimes show up. All or nothing thinking. Example, if I don't get an A on this, I'm a total failure. This kind of thinking ignores the range in between perfect and disaster. Ham and eggs, a day's work for a chicken, a lifetime commitment for a pig. Yes, you're right. I know. So what is the real world fix? When you catch yourself thinking like this, ask, is it really black and white? Most things are shades of grey. Maybe you're okay most of the time, even if today wasn't your best. The thing is, we all do it, and to different degrees. Hashtag stinkin' thinkin'. Everyone wants you to be honest until you tell them how much they suck. This is true. See what I mean? Yeah. So an example, I messed up that presentation. I always screw everything up. And right there, one imperfect moment becomes a sweeping rule. So, how to counteract it? Write down the evidence for and against that thought. You'll probably find a long list of times you didn't actually screw up at all.
I would tell you my autumn joke, but you probably wouldn't fall for it.
That's really sucky.
I thought it was all right.
No, it's pretty sucky, yeah. So you would have heard of catastrophizing.
No.
Well, it's when we go from 1 to 100 over something small, but in our mind, it is the end of the world.
As we know it.
An example, I forgot her birthday text. Now she'll hate me forever. Your brain takes a small problem and inflates it like a blow-up monster.
Stop blaming yourself and others. Learn feng shui and blame the furniture.
Great.
Shut up, lounge sweep. Yeah.
We could ask the question. We could instead ask the question, what's the most likely outcome? Chances are the real outcome is far less dramatic than your brain's headline version.
Yeah, chances are.
Yes, for sure.
Whoever put the S in fast food is a marketing genius.
That's quite good.
I thought so, yeah. Yeah, because it'd be fat food without the S, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's quite the thought.
True, though, yeah.
So when we get our mind reading wrong...
Yeah, that can happen.
So an example could be, they didn't smile at me. They must think I'm weird. That's the lower part of ourselves thinking that.
Low energy vibes. You know when Donkey followed Shrek home and just kept talking? That's what it's like having kids.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
So sometimes you really do have to ask for clarification or remind yourself there's always almost another explanation. Maybe they're having a tough day. Maybe they just didn't see you at all. Because think, when you've been having a tough day, your view of everything is skewed. And you're hoping no one's noticed that you're out of sorts.
Yeah, skewed. It's a good word, skewed.
So
Why then do we fall into the trap? Stinkin' thinking kind of feels familiar.
Well, probably because it's safe, even if it stinks. Because it's predictable and familiarity tricks us into thinking it's true.
Yeah, that's a bit skewed, isn't it, Sal? Did you notice I used the word?
Yes, I did notice.
Yeah, it was a bit skewed, that was.
Yeah, our brains are wired to protect us. So they scan for threats, reject risk, and amplify worst-case scenarios like a panic button DJ. And here's the twist. You don't have to believe every thought your brain throws at you.
So you're saying just because you thought it doesn't mean to say it's true.
Well, that's absolutely right.
So the question has to be asked, how to outsmart your inner critic in real life?
Well, there are really easy ways.
Oh, great. Practical, I hope.
Yeah, there's practical ways around everything, Bob.
Yeah, righto.
Hashtag stinkin' thinkin'. I've learnt to counter stinkin' thinkin' without meditating on a mountain or buying a stack of self-help books.
All this time I thought I was listening to the angel on my shoulder. Turns out the devil on the other shoulder's just a hell of a ventriloquist.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, have you heard of the concept of naming it?
Naming it?
Yeah, give the thought a label, like your inner critic. This is a concept that's becoming more and more popular when people are trying to sort out, how they're feeling and they're maybe in loop thinking and that this negative thought keeps on coming on the start. They've given it a name.
What, like Bob?
Well, whatever name you want other than your own name.
Oh, you're right, okay.
So once named, it's said to, it loses its power. But even better, I have named my brain and it's called George.
Oh, yeah?
Giorgio on a better day.
Oh, all right, George.
Yeah.
But why?
Well, naming your brain can be a surprisingly powerful way to take back control when negative thoughts try to take over. And it can happen to any of us. When your mind starts spiralling, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, I hope this person doesn't do that, I hope this person does this, whatever, something bad is going to happen. It often feels like you are the problem.
Stinkin' thinking.
Yeah, and in that moment, I can say, hey, George, sit down a minute, dude, I've got this. The thoughts feel personal, true, and urgent. Naming your brain creates a small but meaningful separation between you and the noise in your head. And a lot of people are having a lot of success with this. So instead of I am thinking this, it becomes George is doing that thing again.
Hey, Adam and Eve were the first ones to ignore the Apple terms and conditions?
They were, yes, apparently.
Yeah.
So once your brain has a name, maybe something playful like
Bob?
Well, no, wait.
Bob's a good name.
It is. You could call it Gremlin or Drama Queen. Those thoughts lose some of their authority. Hashtag stinkin' thinkin'. When Bob says you're going to fail, or George, you can respond, well, thanks, George, but I didn't ask for a commentary.
Oh, yeah, all right. So blunt pencils are really pointless.
Yeah, you're right. You're right with that, Bob, yeah.
And I've decided that I'm going to avoid everything that makes me fat. Pictures, mirrors, scales.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Now, that shift turns an overwhelming inner critic into an external character whose opinions are optional. You're no longer trapped inside the thought, you're observing it. And this technique also helps because the brain's job is to protect you, even when it's bad at it. Your named brain,
George.
is constantly scanning for danger, replaying past mistakes, imagining worst-case scenarios, not because they're likely, but because it thinks they're keeping you safe.
I noticed with my wife, well, she was saying actually the growth of hair on her legs has slowed down, which gives her time to care for her newly acquired moustache.
Bob, too funny and so true. I pluck, tweezers in the purse, car, desk.
Those that know.
Well, this is right, Bob. When you name your brain, you can acknowledge its intention without obeying it. I see you trying to protect me, but we're okay right now. Naming your brain adds humour and lightness in moments that feel heavy.
I like that.
Yeah, it sure does. You feel it in your body, just a nice kind of relief. Laughter interrupts fear. It's hard for anxiety to dominate when you're rolling your eyes at overthinking Olivia or telling catastrophic Carl to take a seat. Humour doesn't minimise your feelings, it gives you breathing room.
Oh, yeah, that it does.
Hashtag stinkin' thinkin. Over time, this practice builds self-compassion. Instead of blaming yourself for having negative thoughts again, you recognise that thoughts are just mental events, not facts nor failures.
Yeah, right.
You stop fighting your mind and start guiding it. You become the listener, the observer, not the lecturer.
Oh, yeah, good. There's hope for me.
Yes, of course. Naming your brain doesn't make negative thoughts disappear, but it changes your relationship with them.
Oh, yeah, I like that. And we all need small shifts on occasion.
We do, Bob, we do. Because sometimes that small shift is just enough to remind you that you are not your thoughts and you are always the one in charge. Keep a thought journal or morning pages or whatever you want to call it. It cannot be stressed enough how important it is to just write down your thoughts. Write down what happened, what you thought, what you wish you'd thought. Reviewing these over time is like getting a mental audit. It shows where the patterns repeat. It does, and it can show where you had hoped to achieve certain things, be it another job or get out of a habit of putting yourself down. And then you might reread your journal sometime later and realise you've done it. And it's very satisfying. There's no way could you mark that so clearly, so definitively, without seeing what you've written in the past. You can write, ask, is it helpful? Not, is it true? But is this thought helpful right now? Often the answer is no.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Reframe, don't replace. Now, this is an important thing to do. Instead of lying to yourself with false positivity, reframe with balance from, I always mess up. Maybe you might say, sometimes I struggle, but I learn and improve. Now, this feels so much kinder to your nervous system, so therefore to your mind.
If you're worried about people...
How do you mean?
Well, it's okay to lose people, but never lose yourself for people.
Wow, on point, Bob.
Yeah, that's quite good.
It is. Never lose yourself for people.
You should, if you can, talk to someone.
Yes, a trusted friend or a therapist can reflect back what's real and what's just noise.
Yeah, my wife was telling me that at middle age, the growth... hold on a minute, I already told you that joke, so I won't tell you that again. But you know what? You lose your close-up eyesight.
So you can't even see the hair sprouting in your chin.
Yes, well, it's not fun, is it? No, not really.
The unfairness of it all. Hashtag stinkin' thinkin. A final thought.
Here we go.
Stinkin' thinkin' doesn't disappear overnight. It's like learning a new language where the old dialect still pops up, and that's okay.
I like that, the old dialect.
Yeah. Each time you catch a negative thought, just observe it. and choose a more grounded one. You're strengthening a new neural path, a path that leads to clarity instead of catastrophe.
Yes, the neural path.
Yeah, so next time that inner voice pipes up, invite curiosity instead of panic. Just listen to it, but don't buy a ticket for the mental drama it's selling, because the story you tell yourself, it matters.
Hey, one of my friends told me that I make people uncomfortable by violating their private space. It was a hurtful thing to say and it ruined our bath.
Oh, Bob.
Well, it did.
So what about those apples? There's a familiar story we like to tell ourselves when life feels heavy. I'm struggling because of my problems. Sounds honest, sounds responsible, but sometimes uncomfortably, the problems we hide behind are not the cause of our stagnation. They're the camouflage.
Oh, hell yeah.
We wear our struggles like armour. Trauma, stress, bad luck, difficult upbringings, unfair systems, these are real, valid experiences. They shape us, they hurt us, but they can also become a convenient place to stand when we don't want to move. At some point, reflection asks a harder question. What if the problem isn't just what happened to me, but how I keep showing up because of it? That's where the apples come in.
I was thinking the other day, in 4 years, the 80s will be 50 years ago.
Oh, God, that's a thought.
Yeah, it's what I thought when I thought it. That thought, yeah.
We love to point at the tree, the environment, the season, the soil. Where I came from, we say, holding up bruises as evidence. And yes, some trees grow in harsh conditions. Some apples are damaged early. But when every apple from the same tree tastes bitter year after year, it's fair to stop blaming the weather and start examining the roots.
Splendid analogy. Blocking someone is not enough. I want them to have lice.
Do you?
Yeah. Really bad lice.
Lovely.
Yeah, I am lovely, yeah.
There's a subtle shift that happens when someone begins to hide behind their problems. Accountability feels like an attack. Feedback feels like disrespect. Patterns get reframed as exceptions, and growth gets postponed indefinitely, waiting for the perfect moment when pain no longer exists. But pain doesn't leave on its own. It waits. Sometimes it settles in and starts making decisions for us.
Sometimes I have to tell myself it's just not worth the jail time.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
Being the problem doesn't mean being a bad person. That's an important distinction. Often it means being afraid of change, of responsibility, of losing the identity built around survival. When you've spent years fighting fires, peace can feel unfamiliar.
Stinkin' thinkin'
Will do that. It will. Even threatening. So the fire gets relit, consciously or not, just to stay in known territory.
What's familiar? Yeah, so true.
The hardest truth is this: explanations can quietly turn into excuses if they're never followed by action.
Oh, heck yes.
Understanding why you are the way you are is powerful. Staying there forever is not. Reflection without responsibility is just storytelling, and we can become very convincing narrators of our own limitations. What about those apples? They don't change because they're told they're bruised. They change when the tree is tended to, when pruning happens, when unhealthy branches are cut back. Even when it hurts the tree to lose them, growth is not gentle all the time. Sometimes it's honest to the point of discomfort.
And that
is the bottom line.
Hey, the easiest time to add insult to injury is when you're signing someone's cast.
That's quite the thought.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
There comes a moment when blaming circumstances stops protecting us and starts imprisoning us. That's usually the moment where growth is possible. Not because the problems disappeared, but because we stopped using them as a shield.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Owning your part doesn't erase the pain, it redeems it.
Yeah, right. Hey, before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with a slow internet connection to see who they really are.
Not really a bad idea.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that while we may not be responsible for the apples we were given, we are responsible for what we continue to grow. The question isn't whether you've had problems. We all have. Bottom line, the only person coming to save you is the version of yourself that's tired of your current situation. The real question is whether you're still hiding behind your problems or finally brave enough to step out from the shade and tend the tree. Tend to that
Stinkin' thinkin'.
Yeah, until it just dissipates, and it will. If you're serious about growth, your thinking will improve markedly. And if your mind has been loud with stinkin' thinking today, hear this: you're not broken. You're just at crossroads. There is a way out. Not through giant leaps, but through kept decisions, promises to yourself, small ones, daily ones, the kind you make even when you don't feel like it, and especially when you don't.
My wife and I were happy for 20 years. Then we met.
Oh, you're just beautiful, you are.
There you have it.
Yeah. So when you decide and then you stick to it, something shifts.
Yeah, it does, without a doubt.
The fog thins, the road appears. So be patient with yourself. Be honest with your choices and keep showing up. One decision at a time. You can think your way forward.
Oh, I do like that. You can think your way forward.
Yeah, you can, Bob. So it's time to go. Thanks for walking this stretch with me. Until next time, keep choosing better.
Yeah, righto. Yeah, don't say it. Next week, yeah, got it.
That's right, Bob. Yeah, so say good day to the family for me. Give the sparrow a meat pie. And we'll see you next time, okay? Okay then. Bye.
Bye!